Check it out. What do we have today? I'll tell you what, this thing kind of reminds me of those parental advisory stickers they used to put on CDs. Some of you probably don't even know what a CD is, but it's like a round disc that used to have music on it, but I guess now everybody just uses Spotify. So enough about the sticker, let's find out what's inside this box. And we have to undo the bubble wrap and haphazardly throw it on the floor. Oh my gosh, it's here. This is the Start9 Server One. Oh my goodness. This is what we're gonna use to build a Bitcoin full node that we're gonna mine to. So that's pretty cool. Now, there are a lot of ways to achieve this goal, and we'll talk about some of that too. You know what, let's just talk about it right now, okay? There's a million different ways to do a node. You could do a mini PC, you can do a Raspberry Pi Blitz, you can buy a MyNode, you can do an Umbrella Home, you can use your old laptop, lots and lots and lots and lots of ways. But first things first, let's talk about why the hell would you want a full node in the first place? Why would you want to waste your time? Why do you need a full node? There are a lot of great videos about this, and people give some really great detailed explanations and like 10 wonderful reasons that, should convince you to have a full node. But for me, it came down to three things. Number one, I want to be an active participant in the Bitcoin ecosphere, and I want to further the decentralization and the strength of Bitcoin. So think about it like this. The Bitcoin network is comprised of nodes all over the world, but let's imagine there was just one node and one person controlled it. In that particular scenario, Bitcoin would be very centralized. But let's say it split off and now there's 2 and 4 and 6 and 8. All of a sudden that centralization starts to become decentralized. And when you have thousands or even millions of nodes all over the world like we have today, that's like the core component of decentralization as far as Bitcoin is concerned. And the cool thing is in order to take down the Bitcoin network, you would literally have to destroy every single node that exists. And that means that everyone who decides to set up a full node just increases the strength and decreases the likelihood that Bitcoin network will ever disappear. So I like that part of it. I want to be part of strengthening and furthering the decentralization. Those things are really cool to me. Number two, I want to mine to my own pool. Now there are a lot of reasons for this, but the core reason for me really just boils down to self-reliance. I want to have my miners in my house. I want to have my network controlled in my house. And I want to be able to mine in my own house without having to rely on anyone else or their infrastructure or their anything, really. I want to do it all right here. Number three is privacy. Now this kind of ties back into number two, but let's say I am mining to someone else's pool. Now that requires a few different things. I have to get all set up and connected, and I have to relay information to that pool. Particularly a few things that I don't necessarily want out in the world, like my wallet address, which gives up how much of a balance I have on that wallet, and my IP address. So let's say I hit a Bitcoin block worth 3.125 Bitcoins. If there were some sort of malicious character, some sort of hacker bad guy, and he intercepted that information that I'm relaying, he could potentially realize that I have 3.125 Bitcoins in this wallet, and then with my IP address, he could figure out where I live. And then he shows up at my house, and it's like those crazy movies where he's got me like duct taped and duct tape on my mouth, and he's shocking me with a cattle prod. He's like, give me your seed phrase, and I want your Bitcoins. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen. So with my own node, if that same scenario were to play out and I hit a block, other than someone knowing that I'm using like public pool to do it, there's really no way for anyone to know who it was. No one would have any idea that I had all of a sudden windfall of 3.125 Bitcoins, of course, unless I got on the internet and started talking about it. Beyond just malicious characters, things like the government finding out that you all of a sudden have 3.125 Bitcoins and banging on your door because they want a piece of it. There's a lot of different reasons that people want to keep it hush-hush. So those are my three drivers for doing this. Now, as far as selecting this right here, I wanted to come up with an option that's fairly easy for people to replicate. And so if I'm trying to encourage people to set up a full node in their house, if I'm saying, hey, this is really cool, you should do it, asking someone to build a Raspberry Pi Blitz or even take a mini PC and swap out the RAM and the hard drive and all these other things you need to do to get it ready to set up a node, and then do things like flash a USB and boot from the USB, Each one of those steps intimidates people and makes them less likely to do this. So if you've got something that comes ready to go, ready to set up, it means it's more likely for you, the average user potentially, to do it. And that's the idea. Lastly, with Start9, I really like their mission. So their core values are two things that I hold very dear, which are privacy and free speech. They believe that both of those things are fundamental to the human experience, and I could not agree more. And so in looking at their mission statement and looking at their projects and kind of taking a look at StartOS, which they offer for free, I really like what they're doing with that. And so I wanted to give their product a try. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna unbox this beauty. I haven't even opened it yet. I've had it for 3 days. So today's the first day I'm actually gonna open it up. Look, it's still fresh in the plastic. We're gonna take a look at it. We're gonna get it connected. We're going to dig into setting this thing up. I wanna do one of these beautiful unboxing videos instead of just ripping this thing open like a savage. So let's give this a try, okay? Here we go. We're gonna carefully open the package here. I'm going to very delicately remove the saran wrap. Oh, wow. Okay, so right off the bat, we have this little, oh, we got stickers. I love stickers. We have a little manual here, and we have the Server One itself. This is really cool. Very clean. It's made of metal, which I like. And it's a little smaller than I thought it would be. So far, I am very impressed. Cool. So I guess we're gonna go through this quick start guide, and we're gonna figure out what we need to do here, and we're gonna get this thing all ready to go. Okay, so I'm here in the zone. Now this is always how I've made videos in the past. It's just me, small, here in the corner. I'm trying to branch out. I'm trying to evolve as a creator, but I feel more comfortable just tiny in the corner of the screen. Okay, so first things first, it says to plug server into power and Ethernet. I have done both of those things. Then visit http://start.local from any browser. So I have done that, and now we are here on this screen. So StartOS setup, start fresh or recover. We are starting fresh. So let's click that and see what happens. Select storage drive. Okay, we'll select that. And I'm gonna type my password in here. Okay, let's try that again because it showed my password and I'm not showing my password to anybody. So let's try this again. So now finish. So it is initializing StartOS and setting up my server. Seems pretty easy so far. Let's let this do its thing. I'll be right back. Setup is complete, and you've got this cool like matrix stuff going on in the background here. So download address info. Start local was for setup purposes. It will no longer work. Okay, let's download this. I want to allow the download, and we'll take that and throw it over here on the desktop. So we got that. In the new tab, follow instructions to trust your server, root CA, and log in. Okay, let's do that. And let's follow some instructions once they come up. Okay, so download and trust your server's root certificate authority to establish a secure HTTPS connection. You will need to repeat this on every device you use to connect to your server. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's do that. Okay, so I've downloaded everything. Trust your server's root CA. View instructions. Okay, let's look at some instructions. Okay, I'm gonna read this real fast, but I'm not gonna read it out loud. Okay, so I followed all the steps. I tried to get OBS to show my desktop because that would be the easiest way to do this. And for some reason, it's not letting me do it. And instead of spending all day trying to mess with OBS Studio so it shows me the desktop, just trust that this is very easy. Just follow the on-screen instructions and it takes about 2 seconds. There's a couple things you need to do with keychain access. It's very simple. It took me all of about 10 seconds. So now that we're done, we'll go ahead and log into StartOS. Okay, so now let's get this thing all set up. So if you go to tabs over here and you click on Bitcoin, here are the list of available things you can download on the Start9 registry. Now I want to run Bitcoin knots, but you see that's not available. So what I need to do is click on change here under where it says Start9 registry and switch from the Start9 registry to the community registry and connect. And now I see Bitcoin knots. So we are going to go ahead and install this. Now this is going to take forever because it is going to need to download all the blockchain stuff. It's going to take forever, maybe like a couple of days. So I'll see you in a couple days, I guess. Okay, we are back. All said and done, it took about 9 hours to get everything all synced up, which was pretty fast. But the Raspberry Blitz took me like 6 days, and so not bad at all having to wait 9 hours. I planned on staying up late last night to get this video done, but I was so tired, so I thought, you know what, I'll just do this tomorrow, which is today, which is right now. So we are here and we are doing this. Okay, so now step one is done. To recap, step one is installing Bitcoin Knots. Bitcoin Knots is the actual node software that is critical for this Bitcoin node. Gotta have it. Now, I could have gone with Bitcoin Core, but that's a conversation for a different day because it's actually a huge controversial topic in the Bitcoin world, and it's causing a big rift or divide in the Bitcoin community. And for the sake of this video not being like 6 hours long, we will just cover that in another video. But I'm a big supporter of Knots at this point, at least until Core course corrects a little bit. And I will just say, save Bitcoin, man, run Knots. So as we go through this process, I will score everything from a 0 to a 10. 0 being a monkey or a child could do it, and 10 being you need to be like a computer science major at the very least to accomplish this. And I'd say this was like a 1 or a 2 on that scale. It was very simple. Point and click, do a couple of things, and then just sit back and wait. Go eat your dinner, go sit in the bathtub, do whatever you want to do, let it do its thing. But this step was very simple. So we proceed on to the next step. And the next step is setting up an Electrum server. Now, we need an Electrum server for a few things. We need it to run a Sparrow wallet. We need it for Mempool. And so for that reason, we have to have it. But as you can see down here on the dependencies, we needed to have Bitcoin Knots installed first. So that's why we did Knots first. And now we're moving on to the Electrum server. Now, this was pretty easy as well. It was really just a matter of installing it. There were like 1 or 2 small config items, which were just super simple. You press OK, and then you let this thing sync up as well. And all total, I think this took like 2 hours maybe. Not long at all. It was pretty simple. And I actually did it while I was waiting for Bitcoin Knots to finish syncing up. And so I got it all done while Knots was doing its thing. But pretty simple stuff. This one, again, I'd say this is like a 1 or 2 on the scale of easiness. Anyone could do it. It was very, very simple. Moving on to the next one, Mempool. Again, pretty simple, but you see down here we've got these dependencies. So you can't run Mempool without first having Bitcoin Knots and Electrum Server installed. Now, this is actually called electrs. I don't know what the proper pronunciation of this is. I've heard some people say electrs, but there's no I, so I don't know why it would be electrs, but you never know. We're just going to call it the Electrum Server because that's what it is. But not much to do here. Again, this was pretty simple. It was a matter of just installing it, and that was good to go. In case you don't know what Mempool is the blockchain explorer right here. And so this shows you everything that's going on with the Bitcoin blockchain, and you can explore all the way back to the very first Bitcoin transaction long, long ago. And it's colorful, and it's exciting, and it's fun if you're into this sort of thing. And so that is why we wanted to have Mempool. So 3 steps are done. Easy peasy. But it wasn't until we got to the 4th step that shit hit the fan, man. All hell started to break loose. And I'm going to explain exactly why. So the last and final step is we need to install and configure public pool. That's like the main reason I wanted to do this is because I want to mine to my own pool. Without public pool, this is all for nothing. But let me explain why this got so crazy. So once we got public pool installed, there wasn't much to do. We just installed it and it said the thing is running. And so obviously your first inclination is, well, I want to start mining to my own pool. And if you press launch UI, it actually will pull up this screen right here, which looks like every other pool screen that you'd see. And so you think you're probably ready to start mining. However, if you follow these instructions here and you plug this stuff into your miner, you will quickly learn that nothing is happening. It won't connect for 1 and it won't hash for 2, and so you don't know what's going on. Now, you should have taken a look at the instructions because that's what they're there for, and these instructions are all very helpful if you're willing to just read them and see what they say. But public pools where it gets a little bit different because while all the other instructions were incredibly helpful and were great for really simplifying this process, this one takes a little bit of a turn, and here's why. And here's what it says. StartOS does not support forwarding non-HTTP ports yet, like Stratum port. Until this is possible, you can use the following method to open and forward the Stratum port. Yes, just log into StartOS over SSH and switch to the root user. How do you do that? How is my mom supposed to do that? How is the average user gonna know how the hell to connect via SSH and switch to the root user? And here's how they could have solved this right here. Because again, up to this point, anybody could have taken all the steps that we took to get to where we're at. A kid, your mom, anybody. It's been very, very simple. Well, here's how they could have solved it, in my opinion. Had they included a link to this documentation right here, this would have all been very clear. They should have added a line that just says, if you don't know how to connect over SSH, here's a step-by-step list of how to do it, because it's all right here in the Start9 documentation, and it's actually pretty easy. So now that you've got this beautiful documentation that I'm going to include a link to down in the description, what you want to do is open up Terminal. Now I'm on a Mac, so you type Command and Spacebar and just type in TER and Terminal will pop up. Click it, and then just follow these very simple instructions. Now if you're using Windows or something else, it may be a little bit different, but the instructions are pretty much all the same, and it tells you based on what you're using what you should do. Like it says if you're on Windows, skip down to this step or that step. It makes it all very clear. Just read it line by line. Now I'm not going to actually go through this process for a couple of reasons. I don't like these like super tedious tutorial type videos, even though this one is kind of becoming one, because I have to like cover up my private information while I show you this stuff. And there's already a really great video from Paul Lamb where he walks you through all of this exactly like these steps right here. So in case you need some extra help, I will include a link to his video down below, and I will include a timestamp marker that shows you exactly where in the video he is talking about this stuff. So it's pretty easy. Once you know where to go, once you have these resources, it's very, very simple. I just don't know why they were excluded from the instructions. It would have made everyone's lives a little easier, including mine, because I wouldn't have to be explaining this stuff right now. But no big deal. Now that we know what to do, just follow these simple instructions. Once you've gone through this entire list, make sure in Terminal you just type exit and press enter when you are done, and that will cause the system to reboot. Don't just close out Terminal. It may cause some problems. Make sure that you first press exit and then cause the system to reboot, and you will be good to go. Then, and only then, Public Pool will finally start to work. So once you've done all that stuff, we go back to Start OS and to Public Pool, and then we'll click Launch UI. Now that will take us to this screen right here that I showed you before, and it shows you instructions on how to connect your miner in settings to your public pool here. Now where it says Start OS server IP, just type in your local address that you're using to access your Start9 server. It's usually like an adjective and a noun, like happy-penguin.local, something like that. So just type that here. You don't need to actually use the IP. And I actually tried it with the IP and it didn't work. So use your local address for that. It will work just fine. Once you have all your stuff plugged in to your miner settings, which are all going to go right here if you're using something like a NerdQX++, you will be ready to go, and that will bring you to this screen right here. Hallelujah! We are mining away. I have 4 of my miners connected, 2 NerdQX++s, I have a BitAxe GT, and a Gamma 602, all mining successfully to my own pool. And I love that for a lot of different reasons. I like the privacy aspect, I like the sovereign, self-reliant nature of it all, and I also like the connection speed. So to put things into perspective, when I mine to CK Pool, my connection rate is usually something like 70 to 80 milliseconds. With this, let's take a look at what it is right now. It is currently at 3 milliseconds, so much, much faster. And there's something to be said for, again, doing all this in-house. And I love the fact that all this is happening on this little tiny metal box. It's very, very, very cool. Now, this is not all my miners connected to this thing, just 4 of them, because I am still mining for Bitcoin Cash, and I'm not going to let up on that fight until I get a Bitcoin Cash block. But I am willing to point 4 of my miners towards my pool here because I'm trying to support my own little thing that I got going on. And I would love so much to get a Bitcoin block on my own pool, which happened recently. The guy was actually using public pool on an Umbrella home device, but similar setup to this, and he successfully found a Bitcoin block. So that's pretty much it. You know, I've tried to give you as much information as I can here. I'm not gonna like come to your house and set this all up, but I think I've provided you all the resources that you need to get the job done. I'm leading the horse to the water, so to speak. I'm giving the man a fishing pole. I can't fish for you, and I can't make your horse drink, but I can provide you with all the information, and I feel confident and comfortable that I have done that here today. So we'll do some additional videos. There's a lot of other cool stuff here on Start9. One of the things we want to do is get connected to a Sparrow wallet, which I've already done. I'll make a separate video about that. Also going to make some videos about the Lightning Network, getting set up as a Lightning node operator and doing some of that stuff too. So subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for that and future videos. Again, we're going to talk about the core versus knots debate. We've got some other cool products that we'll be testing soon. Those videos won't be as long. This is kind of more in depth because there's a lot of setup stuff to do. But all kinds of fun and exciting stuff on the channel. Also working on some new designs that you can see on carpoozmining.com. I've got some NerdQX++ adapters, also working on some new stands for the BitAxe GT. We're doing some power supply covers and all kinds of crazy stuff that I'm cooking up here in the lab and then printing with my 3D printer. It is lots of fun. So that's pretty much all I got for today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. I will do my best to help you. You can also send me a message on Instagram if it's something long or private or whatever the case and you want to ask my advice or opinion. I am happy to share. Keep it mining related. I don't want to talk to you about politics or random stuff. I'm a busy guy. I got businesses and kids and a lot of stuff going on. But I am here to help with things that are related to solo mining, nodes, Bitcoin, all that other stuff, because I like that stuff and I like to talk about it. So I could keep rambling, but I think that's all I got. We have finally completed this project. We are successfully mining to public pool. We have completed our mission for today and I feel good about it. So thank you for the support. Subscribe to the channel if you want to. I'm not going to beg for your subscription, but if you want to know more about this stuff and you want to follow along in my little journey of trying to get a Bitcoin block and trying to make products and doing all this other random stuff, feel free to follow along. And that's pretty much all I got. So thank you for watching. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you next time.